Welcome to the debate. Right now, nearly 4 out of 10 people calling their doctor for help are met with a busy signal or, an unchecked voicemail.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. It's frustrating.
It really is. So what if the most empathetic thing a clinic could do isn't hiring a kinder receptionist, but actually replacing them with a machine? We are looking today at the rapidly expanding use of AI voice agents in medical and dental practices.
Right, and we're going to use a platform called ClickPhone as our primary case study to, really understand this shift. And it brings up a really profound tension.
Exactly. It asks the question, does deploying a 24/7 AI receptionist fundamentally enhance patient service through flawless accessibility?
Or conversely, does this drive for automation and, let's be honest, cost saving ultimately erode the essential human empathy that healthcare requires? It's really the central question of modern medical administration right now.
Absolutely.
And I think we have completely misdiagnosed the problem with patient communication.
Well, my position on this is pretty clear. Automation, when deployed correctly, is actually the ultimate form of patient care.
The ultimate form?
Yes, I mean it. It eliminates the systemic bottlenecks that currently plague modern clinics. It ensures that absolutely no patient is left waiting or ignored or abandoned to a voicemail box that just never gets checked. Basically, accessibility is the prerequisite to care.
Okay, I hear that, and my position is that applying a rigid, return on investment-driven technological solution to human-patient interactions fundamentally commodifies healthcare.
Commodifies it how?
Well, it takes a highly nuanced, often vulnerable interaction and forces it into an architecture designed for e-commerce. It treats anxious patients as mere tickets to be processed, or worse, as leads to be converted.
Leads. Right. Well, look, let's start by looking at the reality of the modern medical front desk, because I think we often romanticize it.
Romanticize it? I don't know if I'd say that.
I think we do. The idea of patient proximity, this notion that a human receptionist provides a warm, empathetic touch, is honestly a myth if the patient cannot even get through to speak to that person.
Well, obviously they need to get through.
Right, and if we look directly at the data, driving platforms like ClickPhone, we see that medical practices currently suffer from a 38% missed call rate. 38%.
Wow, yeah, I don't dispute the volume issue. The logistics of modern clinics are absolutely buckling.
Right. So that means nearly 4 out of 10 people seeking care simply do not get it, or their care is severely delayed because the physical infrastructure of a human at a desk just cannot keep up with the volume.
Sure.
I mean, the front desk staff is currently spending roughly 4 hours a day just on the phone. So ClickPhone steps in. It instantly answers every single call. It functions 24/7.
Yep, all day and night.
And it can speak in over 30 languages. It automatically detects the caller's language and responds natively. It handles the booking. It manages the recall campaigns for dental checkups. And it does it without ever putting a single person on hold.
Not one person.
Not one. From an access perspective, this provides a baseline of reliable service that no human front desk could ever physically match.
I get the appeal, but look at what happens to the nature of that interaction once the AI actually answers. Healthcare communication is fundamentally different from booking a table at a restaurant.
Sure, this stakes are higher.
Way higher. Or, initiating a return for a sweater you bought online. Yet those are the exact industries this exact same technology is built for.
Well,
If you read ClickPhone's own literature, you see exactly how they view the patient interaction. They tout metrics like 12,000 euros saved in personnel costs per year.
which is a valid metric for a business owner.
But they focus heavily on ROI. They literally advertise the ability to turn missed calls into real leads. When did a patient with an abscessed tooth become a lead?
I think you're getting hung up on the language of business-to-business software marketing.
It's revealing, though.
ClickPhone is selling software to clinic owners. Of course, they are going to use the language of operational efficiency. But the clinical result, the patient actually getting an appointment instead of a busy signal, is what matters.
See, the language matters because the language reveals the architecture of the system. Let's talk about how this technology actually works under the hood.
Okay, let's.
When a patient calls, the AI uses natural language processing to understand the request. It takes the audio of that person's voice, converts it into a flat string of text, and then scans that text for semantic keywords.
Words like pain or appointment.
Exactly. Words like pain, appointment, or Thursday, it parses the data beautifully, but in doing so, it completely strips away the emotional subtext. It filters out the microtremors in a caller's voice, the hesitation, the suppressed panic.
Because its job is logistical triage.
But a patient isn't just transmitting data about a toothache. They are transmitting anxiety. When a human receptionist hears that anxiety, they offer reassurance. They validate the distress.
Sometimes, if they aren't rushed.
The AI parses the data into a structured ticket and logs it into a CRM, but it drops the anxiety into a void. Yes, it reduces manual rework by 62% as they claim, but it does so by flattening the human element out of the equation entirely.
Look, I understand the concern about flattening the interaction, but I would frame the purpose of that phone call very differently. You're demanding that a phone call provide emotional support,
I'm demanding it provide human care.
whereas I am arguing that the phone call's primary clinical function is to secure access to the actual medical professional.
Let's talk about how we define service quality in a medical context.
Okay, ClickPhone highlights a case study from a company called Nova Sales, noting that by implementing the voice agent, their reaction time to inquiries dropped from 4 hours to 12 seconds.
I come at it from a different way. Nova Sales is a B2B sales operation.
Hear me out, though. Think of the AI as a hyper-efficient digital triage. It's not there to hold the patient's hand over the phone.
Clearly.
It is there to ensure they actually get in the door to see the doctor instead of giving up after 30 minutes of tinny hold music. 12 seconds to process an inquiry means the patient gets on the calendar instantly. In healthcare, speed of access is a critical component of service quality.
I think we are confusing the speed of a transaction with the quality of care. A 12-second processing time is a fantastic business metric if you are selling software demos.
It's fantastic for patients in pain, too.
Not necessarily. If a buyer wants a demo, 12 seconds is phenomenal. But a patient calling a dentist with severe radiating jaw pain needs triage that actually understands pain, not just a system that does an automated check against a Google Calendar API.
But the AI is doing triage. It's programmed to ask discovery questions. It evaluates the request before routing it.
It evaluates the request based on predefined logic trees designed to optimize calendar space. It's like a train on a track.
It gets you where you need to go.
Yes, it is incredibly fast and efficient at getting to the scheduled destination, but it is completely unable to swerve if an anomaly appears on the path.
For example,
If a patient calls and says, my jaw hurts, it's a bit swollen, and I have a slight fever, a human receptionist with 20 years of experience hears the combination of those symptoms, recognizes the potential for a severe spreading infection, and squeezes them in immediately. They might even interrupt the doctor.
and the AI?
The AI looks for available slots, follows its script, and books them for next Tuesday, because it doesn't process the human urgency. It only processes the semantic keywords: jaw, hurt, appointment.
Right.
We are applying the exact same lead intake and conversion automation that we use to sell gym memberships to people in medical distress.
Well, I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. I am entirely unconvinced by that line of reasoning, mostly because you are comparing the AI to an idealized, perfect human receptionist with 20 years of experience who is having a perfectly calm day.
I'm comparing it to human judgment.
But you're abstracting human judgment away from the reality of the clinic floor.
How so?
The reality is that the human receptionist is currently trying to check in a patient standing physically in front of them, deal with an insurance portal that just crashed, process a complex billing code, and answer 2 ringing lines simultaneously.
Right, it's chaotic.
Extremely chaotic. The human is stressed, rushed, and highly prone to error under that cognitive load.
So we remove them from the phone entirely?
No, we reallocate their time by offloading all the routine, low-stakes questions like, the questions about opening hours, parking directions, basic appointment scheduling. The AI actually increases patient proximity where it matters most.
By freeing them up.
Exactly. Because the AI is saving the clinic 4 hours a day of phone time, the physical staff in the clinic can focus 100% on the patient standing right in front of them.
Ideally.
When you walk into the clinic, the receptionist isn't holding up a finger to shush you while they argue with someone on the phone. They look you in the eye. They actually have the bandwidth to provide that empathy you are talking about. The AI handles the logistics so the humans can handle the care.
That is a wonderful theory of time reallocation, but I don't buy that it plays out that way in practice.
Why not?
You are assuming the 4 hours saved are benevolently reinvested into lingering, empathetic moments with patients in the waiting room. But we have to look at the economic incentives driving this technology.
The cost-saving aspect?
Right, because the business models shape the behavior of the software. Let's look at the underlying economic engine of platforms like this. They use software as a service consumption models.
You're talking about the pricing tiers.
Exactly. ClickPhone, for example, offers a starter tier. It includes a baseline of 200 conversation minutes. Now, 200 minutes for a busy clinic will be burned through in a matter of days, if not hours.
Right, it's just a baseline to get the system integrated. It's about 50 euros.
But look at what happens the second they cross that threshold. The clinic is suddenly charged a per-minute overage fee. Let's say 20 cents per minute.
Which is standard for API usage.
It is, but let's think about how that fundamentally alters the nature of a healthcare interaction. When a patient speaks to a human receptionist, the goal is resolution, even if it takes a little time to coax the symptoms out of a nervous caller.
Right.
But when a clinic is paying a per-minute API cost for the AI to process the call, the financial incentive is brevity.
Oh, come on. I think that's a massive leap. You're suggesting clinics are programming the AI to hang up on people to save dimes.
I'm not saying it's malicious. I'm saying the system is architected for bottom-line efficiency. It is programmed to close the ticket as fast as possible.
To resolve it quickly, yes.
The AI will guide the conversation aggressively toward a booking or a hang-up. When the clinic's overhead is directly tied to the duration of a patient's sentence, listening becomes a liability.
I wouldn't call it a liability.
I would. The software isn't designed to hold space for a patient to explain their complicated medical history. It's designed to minimize server compute time and maximize throughput.
But again, I'd counter that by saying you are viewing efficiency purely as a corporate cost-saving measure, when efficiency is actually a clinical necessity.
How is rushing people a clinical necessity?
It's not rushing. It's accurately retrieving and dispensing information. The AI is built on what ClickPhone calls an intelligent knowledge base. We need to talk about how it actually manages data. This isn't a basic robotic phone menu from 2010 where you press 1 for appointments and 2 for billing.
No, it's much more sophisticated, I'll grant that.
Right. The clinic uploads their specific PDFs, their internal FAQs, their exact administrative and medical guidelines into a secure environment. Because it is GDPR compliant and hosted in the EU, the data processing is localized and highly secure.
Yeah, the privacy standards are there.
The AI is trained on a highly specific ring-fenced medical perimeter. What you get from that is perfectly consistent, medically safe answers. The AI doesn't experience decision fatigue at 5 p.m. on a Friday.
That's true.
It doesn't accidentally give a patient the wrong fasting instructions for a blood test because it was distracted by a delivery driver. It provides a highly standardized, perfectly accurate response every single time based exactly on the doctor's protocols.
That's a compelling argument, but have you considered that standardization is precisely what worries me?
Why would perfectly standardized answers worry you?
You are praising the fact that the system is perfectly standardized, but healthcare is fundamentally about complexity and anomaly.
But ClickPhone explicitly markets this as level 1 support. They make it very clear the AI resolves basic inquiries and passes on complex cases.
Yes, it boasts automatic forwarding, real-time routing to a human, but that entire premise rests on a massive assumption.
Which is?
That the AI can correctly identify what is basic and what is complex. The line between a level 1 administrative inquiry and a level 3 medical emergency in healthcare is incredibly blurred, and patients do not speak in highly structured, easily categorizable prompts.
Give me an example of where that breaks down in practice.
Gladly. A patient might call and ask a seemingly simple question. They say, should I keep taking this new medication? I feel a little dizzy.
Okay.
To an AI trained on an FAQ document, that maps perfectly to a level 1 query about medication side effects.
The NLP parses dizzy and medication, accesses the intelligent knowledge base, and might pull a perfectly standard, pre-approved response.
Right. Like mild dizziness is a common side effect.
Exactly. Mild dizziness is a common side effect of this medication. Please ensure you are drinking enough water.
Which might be exactly what the doctor's FAQ says.
But what if that patient had major cardiovascular surgery 3 days ago?
Ah.
A human receptionist, even a stressed one, has situational awareness. They might recognize the caller's name or simply ask, "Wait, didn't you just have surgery?"
That relies on them remembering, though.
But a human realizes that a post-operative patient feeling dizzy needs immediate, urgent escalation to a physician. The AI, because it is executing predefined workflows and discovery questions, just sees a match in its knowledge base and closes the ticket. Standardizing care inherently means flattening the vital anomalies that define true medical diagnosis.
But see, you are completely ignoring the alternative for that post-operative patient.
Am I?
Yes. What happens to that exact same dizzy patient today? They call the clinic. The human receptionist is overwhelmed with the line out the door. The patient gets a busy signal.
Right.
They call back, busy signal. They are placed on hold for 45 minutes.
And eventually, they get through to someone who can contextualize their pain. Or they hang up.
That's what the 38% missed call rate means. They hang up and they suffer in silence, or they go to an emergency room unnecessarily, clogging up another vital part of the healthcare system. The AI might not have a medical degree, but neither does the busy signal.
That is a very stark way to put it. But it doesn't solve the core issue of interpretation.
It solves the issue of data capture. Even in your worst-case scenario, the AI, at the absolute minimum, captures the interaction.
It logs it.
It automatically transcribes the call, creates a structured note, and flags it in the CRM system instantly. The doctor between patients can glance at a dashboard, see the transcript that says a post-op patient called complaining of dizziness, and call them right back.
Assuming they check the dashboard in time.
But the automation of the intake guarantees the data actually reaches the medical professional. Without the AI, that call drops into the void and the doctor never even knows the patient tried to reach out.
I think this is where we see the situation most differently. You are looking at a structured note in a CRM, what they'd call a HubSpot or Salesforce integration, and you are viewing that as a medical triumph.
It's better than a dropped call.
I view it as a purely administrative triumph that masquerades as care. We are taking the language of the sales funnel and pasting it over the patient journey.
Because the logistics of the patient journey are currently broken.
But when a clinic celebrates a reduction in personnel costs through automation, they are celebrating the removal of the very people who traditionally translated human suffering into medical action.
They are removing them, they're reallocating them.
The receptionist doesn't just log data. They interpret humanity. They are the ones who hear the slight slur in a caller's voice and suspect a stroke rather than just logging a ticket for headache. A transcript on a dashboard does not replace the intuitive, real-time assessment of a human being.
Look, we have to acknowledge that asking human beings to act as data entry clerks, phone operators, billing specialists, and empathetic caregivers all at exactly the same time is a logistical nightmare. It is an unsustainable burden. We both agree on that, don't we?
We absolutely agree that the administrative burden on modern clinics is crushing. It's crushing both the staff and the patients.
Right. So tools like this, with their ability to flawlessly handle 24/7 calendar integrations, automatically identify languages, and pull from a secure, localized database, offer undeniable operational value.
There is operational value, yes.
We cannot pretend that the old way is working when 4 out of 10 people are being left out in the cold. Analyzing this purely as a conflict between cost saving and service quality misses the fact that, in many ways,
Purely mechanical tasks, like, telling a caller where to park or what the holiday hours are, or resetting a patient portal password, is incredibly useful. I am not arguing against technology. But where we diverge and where I think the real danger lies is in the scope creep of this automation.
You mean moving from logistical tasks to clinical triage?
Exactly. We are enthusiastically treating patients with the exact same conversion automation that we use to sell software or gym memberships.
It's just a tool.
Degrading the empathetic foundation of medical care. We are deciding that efficiency
is the highest possible good.
It's a necessary good.
But efficiency is not healing, and a perfectly optimized patient pipeline means very little if the system is completely deaf to the human being inside it.
And my takeaway is that without efficiency, healing can't even begin because the patient literally cannot get through the front door to see the doctor.
It's a catch-22.
It really is. We have to build infrastructure that matches the reality of the demand. The integration of AI agents like this across medical fields isn't just a theoretical future. It's already here, answering calls right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's expanding rapidly.
The challenge for all of us, clinicians, developers, and patients, is to determine exactly where that line between efficient data collection and human care should be drawn.
Which brings us right back to where we started. The sterile precision of the AI versus the messy, overwhelmed reality of the waiting room.
Exactly. And the next time you're sitting on your couch listening to that endless loop of tinny hold music with a throbbing toothache, you might just find yourself wishing for the swift 12-second precision of a machine.